All right, and welcome back. We're about to start our first conversation for this morning, and we have in studio with us not other than the Deputy Mayor of the at the Belize City Council, Mr. Allan Pollard
Good
himself.
morning.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Morning.
All right, so Allan Pollard, let's get right into it. Sorry, I'm so accustomed to having conversations with you. You're such a chill guy that I might refer to you by your first name at times.
That's completely fine.
And I'm sure it's completely fine.
Completely fine.
But brother, first of all, let's get right into this annual clothing drive that you have. Let's talk about the vision behind it and initially how it began.
Well, morning to all viewers. Morning, guys. Thanks for having me. The clothing drive this one is our second edition doing it. It started out as just, my family taking the initiative to, give back to the community amongst ourselves. And we usually have stuff from outside, from the States, from family members, and we try to identify the people who we believe that are in need and ensure that they get quality stuff. So when I was running in the Queen Square division back in the last general election, we thought about it, and I said to my peers, what if we invite others to donate, and then that way we could reach a wider amount of families, right? And we did it the first time, just amongst us, and it was the feedback that we've got, the amount of people that came out, and how quickly the clothes disappeared. I mean, it just showed how grateful people were to have the opportunity to come in, select what they like, and just walk away with a fresh wardrobe. And I think that was something that for us to engaging as a family and as a committee, I think that it's only right that we continue that and make it bigger. And that's the overall idea for this one, to make it as big as possible, to touch as many families as possible. There's a lot of people out there who, oftentimes we take for granted the small things in life, like the ability to choose what you want to wear today. That was something where we, take for granted as more fortunate people. But there are a lot of people who, they have limited shirts, limited clothes, undergarments, like, they're not stuff where people take for granted oftentimes. And, just being out there, being involved in the process of selecting the items for them, it's a great feeling, to know that you're giving back to your community.
This clothing drive is just an example of how you have been so involved in your community, and I'm sure which was a part of your decision to, run for politics at such a young age. I want to tie that in because aside from being an active member of your community, you also want to affect change. So let's talk about your decision to take that bold step and be a part of politics.
Yeah. Bold step indeed, and I think it was at a time where most politicians weren't as young, right? We had older politicians for quite some time, and I think that has always been like a thought behind, like the back of my head, right? To say, maybe later on in life, I would jump in the race, but once the opportunity presented itself, and after praying and consulting with family members, and hearing just the thoughts that they had and how much they support me, and it's something that I never really imagined happening so soon. Right? So it was definitely a bold step. It was definitely coming out of the comfort zone, and I think that I have done that in a way whereby now younger folks could look at it and say, listen, if Allan could do it, I could do it. It's not as scary anymore, right? And I've made that absolutely clear to them, especially at the council level, where we've flawlessly executed that. And at the same time, it's not only about putting yourself forward, but at the same time, making sure that you are a good example, making sure that you carry yourself a certain way, and make sure that you're always excelling in the face of thousands who want to do the same. And so that's for me, my overall motivation is when I'm seeing more people involved, when I'm getting messages from younger people who want to get involved in the process. That's the rewarding thing for me. So so far, no regrets, and I think that most young people now they're getting there, and we're seeing youth participation on many levels now.
Yeah.
And it's just about breaking the barriers on the general level now and national politics. And I think we're getting to that point.
Is it that at the heart of being a political leader, you must have a desire to serve your people as you're doing through this clothing drive?
Correct.
Because some would imagine that as young as you are, or the younger you enter politics, that the desire may be there more so to make money off of it, or to enrich yourself. But I'm gathering more and more while looking at you as an example and others that there isn't a lot of money there to even enrich yourself unless you're involved in corruption.
That is a huge misconception, and I would want to use this platform to discourage anyone who has that idea, right? I could tell you, for me, if I haven't enjoyed the support of a supportive family and good friends and a great network, I think I would have been done in one term. There's no money there, guys. You literally, everything you have, if it's about service, like you said, that desire to serve and to be involved in a community. And I could tell you off the bat, everything that I have is no longer for me, right? So it's definitely about making sure that you're making that sacrifice for everybody, because things happen spontaneously. And if you say you care about people, and you say you love people, and you say you want better for your community, it's extremely difficult to say no. No is not an option. So it's not a matter of enriching yourself or making money, because if you're thinking about longevity any at all, you know that, listen, what I have is no longer for me. That's about we, right? And my family takes some other licted too, and they support me, they help me, friends, and of course the community too. So for me, I don't have a lot, right? And I never born with no gold spoon or no millions of dollars. So like this clothing drive, the entire concept of coming together, bringing people together and helping others. So I might not have it. We can't always rely on government support, but I think if each one of us come together, we could make a significant impact in our communities. Right?
So let's talk a bit about how the clothing drive works, how individuals can participate, what's the setup like on the day of, where can persons go to get clothing. Give us the rundown in terms of how it works.
So we have on the flyer, we have a contact number that is specifically for the clothing drive. So anybody who has items who want to donate, please contact the number, call us, text us, and we do all the pickups ourselves.
Okay.
So we come to your house, we pick up the items from you, and we have a vetting process where we skim through the clothing and making sure that we have proper clothes for people, right? We don't want to make it feel like, just because we're poor means that, we are give anybody anything, right? We make sure that people have nice quality items. We make sure that it's the best of the best. And, making sure that we look good at the end of the day, right? And then, so it's Saturday, August the 12th, at the St. John's Anglican Basketball Court. This is in the Queen Square constituency, but of course it's open to anybody in the public. We will be having some school bags as well for the kids, some supplies. We usually do free hot dogs, and we're having bouncy house as well. So there's some activities for the kids. Maybe while the parents go through the items, the kids could have their time enjoying the bouncy house and other activities that we have out there.
You made mention earlier of the fact that once you enter the political arena, what is yours is no longer solely yours.
God.
I I want to ask because there's this expectation of young politicians to break the cycle of dependency
Yeah.
among constituents. How do you go about seeking to do that? Or is it a lost cause? Is it such a generational thing that there is no way to cross that hurdle whereby, as a politician, you are not viewed as sort of a mini god in your community because of your ability to give handouts constantly, to have the people dependent on you? It's a psychological thing as well.
Right,
The
yeah.
more dependent you are on me, the more reliant you are on me, the more I am loved and embraced in my community, and the higher chances I have of being voted in and gaining the support I need at the next election.
That's an excellent take and an excellent perspective. When you are in the community, right? And I think personally, what has always been my strength, it's not the ability to give, it's the ability to be there, right? And I think because primarily I'm from Southside Belize City, so there's no going around that for me, right? So when I wake up in the morning, I wake up past outside. When I go home, go sleep past outside. So just my commute to work, I have to pass these communities, right? So I wouldn't necessarily call it a lost cause. And when you think about dependency, they're like, all right, well, that every day I give you something, which is not the case. When you are involved actively, you understand some of the pressures that these people are under, right? It's not a matter of they want to depend on you, but who else, right? So, like, if systems have failed them over time, right, and that is something that has happened already, right? But making sure that people that look like you, right? People, at the end of the day, they're people. They're not poor people, and they're people just like me and you, right? So making sure that, listen, when you walk in our house and you have 4 young kids, one single mother trying her absolute best, a complete juggling act, right? I call it magic and all, right? To try to send these kids to school, to provide for the family, be mother and father, for work, and at the end of the day, how would they need sometimes that just the extra push. And if I'm in the position to maybe lighten the burden a bit, I don't see it as them being dependent on me. I'm seeing it as, listen, I am somebody in my community where I could provide, and that's the way I see it at the end of the day.
You speak like a national representative, but yet we hear that your aspirations right now is for mayoral office.
Correct.
Is it that you've set aside your national political aspirations, particularly in Queen Square, where you lost by a small margin at the last general elections?
I wouldn't say set aside. That's not the way I would put it. I think that my political journey is just that, a journey, right? Whichever level I am, whether it be council level, whether it be national level, the service is the same. I'm just here to serve. And I've always said this in the party, for me, I'm not one that is big on positions, but just being able to serve at whatever capacity is something that of course, nationally, that's my end goal. I think that we all have to dream big, right? And I always refer to myself as a professional dreamer before a politician, right? And so for me, of course, one day I would want to be a nation leader. Of course, one day it would be a dream to become the Prime Minister of Belize. But saying I'm setting aside my national ambition is furthest from the truth. And I just think that at this time I'm very young. I'm still very young, as much as I don't feel so sometimes. I'm 28 years old. I think that the journey entails much more than just going into a division and being there for umpteen years and then trying to naturally ascend, but how I could provide for my country every step on the way. So at the mayoral level, how could I be a part of shaping Belize City into what I believe that should be a city that my kids could live in, right? Where I could live in, and my peers could feel comfortable, should be safe. And at the end of the day, when I go out on a national stage, I could say, hey, this is Belize, and this is the hand that I had in there.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I've done at a city level. And then after that, once I'm successful at that, go to a national level and then have my my influence there as well. So I do believe it's a journey. I do believe that every step of the way adds to the bigger picture, right?
It looks like you're not afraid of taking the slower path to where your desire is. My question to you is, if you were mayor, what would you do differently?
That's an awesome question, an excellent take. And the slower part to me, I wouldn't necessarily call it a slower part. I would call it the more impactful part for me, to make sure that, you know, like I said, have tangible things to say. All right, well, this is the legacy of Allan Pollard. This is what I envision my country to be. This is what I envision my city to be. So I cannot say, all right, well, now that I'm mayor, I'm disregarding what I've done as a councillor, because we have done so much, right? Being at City Hall at 2018, seeing where we were and what was there and what we had to do to cross certain hurdles, you know, it's all part of the process of where we need to go as a city. And I believe that differently, I think that speaking differently, I think that we do need to have a new vision, a bigger vision as to what we want the city to be. And we need to have a focused approach on how we accomplish that. And I think that key areas we have to look at, especially I think that a lot of people now we're hearing people are fleeing Belize City because of whether it's not safe or they think that other areas are booming, for example, the Keys, etc. But I want it to be a situation where people are coming to the city for opportunities, for whether it be job opportunities, whether it be for business opportunities, and of course, being in a safe environment, doing so as well. Having that narrative that, listen, you could raise your kids in Belize City and it'll be completely fine. You could start your business in Belize City and it's completely fine, right? And I think that when you look around all over the world, the city is the heart of the country, right? The cities is where the economic prosperity is happening. It's where people are coming together as communities. It's where it's the hallmark of what that country is, right? When you think New York, you think New York City, right? When you think England, you think London, and that's the same thing with Belize. It shouldn't be just, all right, well, we fly into Belize and then we go somewhere else. No, why Belize can't be a destination in itself, Belize City? Why the city can't be a hub?
My question is it tough to campaign for leadership when you were a part of the very same body that was led by someone else?
I wouldn't say that. I think what makes it easier is that comparing when I'm campaigning now to when I was campaigning 2018, you know, it's easy to point fingers and say, all right, well, the guys that do nothing, give me a chance, whatever. No, I'm campaigning from a much more informed standpoint, right? It's not propaganda. It's not just nice words to make your call to the polls. It's literally knowing what the situation is and exactly how I could be the change that I believe that is needed, right? From a much more informed standpoint. And I think that is something that we should expect from all our politicians. And it shows that it's not a popularity contest. It's literally electing somebody who you believe that has the skill set. And one of the strengths that I do have now and that I do enjoy is that, yes, I'm young. Yes, you're getting youth. And yes, we want youth participation, but I'm also experienced.
Yeah.
All right? At the end of March, You're looking at a 6-year municipal leader,
Wow.
right? So
Really? That it doesn't even seem
it
that
doesn't
much.
seem
So
that way,
you
but it is.
entered the arena at the age of
20.
23.
23.
23,
Yeah.
yes. And
Wow.
I'm 28 years old
Oh,
now.
Yeah.
shoot, sorry, I thought he said 26.
Yeah.
I'm 28 years old. So I literally, City Council has raised me in a sense, right? Most of the people that I know, that I'm familiar with, a lot that I've learned from staff. Most of the people that are staff became my friends, became close family. So I've been raised in this environment, right? And the experience and the wealth of knowledge that I have now is something that is completely invaluable. And I owe a lot of my personal development and character development to City Hall, and so that's the experience that you can't buy that.
Yeah,
right?
I think the future possibilities is wide open for you
It
as a young politician. There's many more roads to trod, many more challenges to face, and many more opportunities to grab a hold of. Your mayor indicated publicly that he will not run in a convention.
Correct.
Given that you've placed your hat in the ring, what's your thoughts on his comments?
Among others.
Yeah, among others, clearly.
Yeah. My thought is that I always believe that as men, every man reserves the right to whatever position that they have, right? That's the freedom that we enjoy as a free society, as a politically stable society and country. And he reserves that right. And I think that if that's the way how he feels and that's his prerogative, then I think that's fair. That's a fair call on his part. His idea is that he has came in, he has done his part and accomplished what he has accomplished. And so convention to him is not a necessary route that he believes that he should take. And that is fair. And he reserves that right. Me, on the other hand, I'm saying if that's the route that the party will take, and that's usually the route, I'm willing to participate. I'm not asking for much. I'm just participating in the process, the due process, and I reserve that right as well. And that's the thing. As grown men, as leaders, we have to make sure that everything that we're doing is, of course, with respect to whatever the governing constitution of whatever party is and the country at the end of the day. And we all reserve the right to hold whatever position that we hold. And I think that Mayor has been consistent in his messaging on that. And he has been firm on his stance. So he reserves that right. And
Do you think it's coming from a place of hurt or some would say pettiness?
I wouldn't say that. Why would you say that?
I'm wondering if, or may perhaps a place of a sense of betrayal, that to say that, all right, I've done so much, I've given so much, I've won twice for the People's United Party in Belize City, and I perhaps the word I should have used initially is entitlement, and I should be entitled to be endorsed. I am entitled to be endorsed, and I'm not speaking for the mayor. I'm asking. I'm entitled to be endorsed for a third term. We know how it works in politics. A lot of times, people want to be endorsed because of the amount of investment they've made, the amount of work even behind the scenes that they've done to keep the party in a position in these seats and within these circles.
I personally can't speak for the reasoning as to the position that the mayor took, but I don't believe in that there's anything along the lines of petty or entitled or anything like that. This position has been said publicly long before before the application process has opened. Period, right? So that's just his personal position and the reasoning behind it, and I'm sure that comes from consultation with himself, his God, and his family. So I can't speak on that.
All right.
Well, Allan, we're just about out of time, so I just want to take it back to the annual clothing drive that's about to take place. You can just remind us again the date, how people can reach out to you to support.
All right. I'm sure you guys have the flyer, right? So
We do,
Saturday, August the 12th,
12th,
St. John's Anglican basketball court. Yeah, that is on Amara and Euphrates, between both. And it starts at, we're going to be out there from 10 a.m. Please come out, bring your kids. I know you could find something for the family, something for yourself, something for the kids. And if you want to donate, the number is on the screen right now. I believe it's 608-6582. Call us. We will come to your house. You don't have to burn gas. You don't have to catch bus. You don't have to get no taxi. We will come for it.
Just separate the clothes.
I was separated.
Okay,
You just
Allan,
put
we'll
it.
separate
I
it.
will come for it
He
personally.
uploaded.
I will come for it personally for your house. And we were separated. We will do everything. And of course, I just want to encourage you guys. The more you give, the more God will bless you.
Right.
And of course, we can't always think about government taking care of everybody.
Yeah.
We have to start to think that, together as a people, we could look out for each other and accomplish some of the necessary changes we need to see in our society.
Allan,
and
thank you so
community.
much for joining us, for sharing and talking about your aspirations for Mayor of Belize City. We wish you all the best, especially with your clothing drive that's about to take place.
Yes,
Thank you.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we will be joined by members of the diocese to talk about annual diocese